So thanks for checking out our video here, team. What we're here to do today is to review the top 3 high-end 1911 manufacturers that are out there. And we're going to tell you from our choice here which one we liked the most when it came from a packaging standpoint. Obviously, the most important thing about the firearm standpoint. And then I do believe there is a such thing as customer service that is still out there. Especially when you're spending over $5,000 on a firearm, you want to be shown the show, I like to say, and making sure that you feel valued. So to give you a little bit of background on where we started our journey with 1911s is actually the first firearm my wife ever bought me. Girlfriend at the time was a Kimber TLE2, which we still have that gun to here today. Loved that firearm, and we both enjoyed shooting a full-size, full-frame 1911. For me, it came down to some of the military history background on it from being used in World War II. You can even go as far as some of the gangsters that used it, and then also obviously carried throughout Korea, Vietnam, and you even heard Chris Kyle, that was his favorite gun, sidearm to carry during his time deployed out in the Middle East. So, Tara, any add-ons on what you thought of with that first Kimber 1911?
I thought it shot really smooth, and I really liked that you could make adjustments to it with adding a sight, adding a light, and things like that.
Yeah. No, and I think it's very important to bring up is we have that persona out there that most females should only shoot 9mm, right? And I think that was your first exposure to a other caliber outside of 9mm. What did you feel the recoil was compared to your Glock? Or I think at that time you had a Smith & Wesson. So what was the feeling like going from that full frame 1911?
I think that it was super smooth, and I think that a lot of people talk about the kick of guns, and I don't think that it was nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to be. With comparing it to a Glock, I honestly think that even having a 45 versus 9, it was smoother.
Yeah. So, team, what we're going to do is we're going to start with our first manufacturer that we bought, getting into the high-end 1911s, and that was Wilson Combat. So we got married in 2018. Like I said, we bought that Kimber. I think it was 17, beginning of 17. And I remember we were going through the wedding planning, and we had this thing called a wedding gift. And Tara asked me what I wanted for my wedding gift. If you are getting started looking at your journey into high-end 1911s, Wilson Combat's probably going to be the first one you've heard of. And back in 2018, that was the craziest, most expensive thing besides a wedding that I really wanted to have. So when I got the green light to order it, I think we ordered it February or March of 2018. We were told it was going to take anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Our wedding was in October, so we were told we weren't going to have it by October. Fun fact for you, I think we got it in November, right? A month after. And unfortunately, we're not going to review that 1911 because I wanted to keep it pretty relative in each model that we have. So the models we're going to review today are all Commander series. That was a full-size 1911. But fun story for you, we loved that full-size Wilson Combat so much. The couple we were with, we went out to dinner after, and I ordered this specific Wilson Combat at that dinner and wanted to carry that one because of how smooth that full-size shot. So this is the CQB model, just to show everybody that the gun is clear here. And this is Wilson Combat's Commander Series close quarter combat. I don't know what the B stands for. Do you remember off the top of your head? No. But anyways, the CQB model, to me, that's close quarters. And this is really my second Wilson Combat that I purchased. One of my favorite 45 ACP Commander style 1911s that I own. I carried this for quite some time. It's held up pretty well. Don't carry it as often now than what I have in the past. But let's start from the beginning when it came to the ordering process. So the cool thing with Wilson Combat, if you are like me, you want to order straight from the manufacturer because you want to own that quote-unquote sales process and you want to customize your firearm. So when we ordered this in 2018, I sent out a submission form on their website and picked out all of the different features and options that I wanted on this site. Some of the things that you get to pick out, and I'll call out a couple takeaways. They always ask for what trigger that you would like in their firearm, short, medium, or long. I didn't know what that meant. I really wish I would have went to a gun store at that time to understand that before I just blindly order a $5,000 firearm. And I went with a short one. Luckily enough, that's what I like. That I've shot them all now. But just food for thought there. Before you order something, if you do not know what it is, stop, get information before you order that, especially on a trigger, as that's probably one of the most important features of a firearm is how do you like that trigger pull. So for us, we went short. You can see not a lot of pull there when it comes to that. And there was only a couple of options that we did change on here. It will ask you about what you would like for your sights. Your front sight, we did the green, quote unquote, fiber, so you get a little bit of light there at night. And then we did do these blue small parts. So one of the things to call out about Wilson Combat, the 1911 that I ordered for our wedding gift in 2018 was around $6,000 with all the customizations that I put on there. And they forgot to do the small part blue after they already engraved the screws. So being that this was my first high-end 1911, for me, that detail missed was very eye-opening to me. And they offered to make it right by two things, either taking the money off or I could delay receiving the pistol for them to resend out the screws to get engraved after the small parts. We ended up taking the money off. So, Tara, anything you remember from the ordering process that I'm missing from calling out?
No, I just think that it was a very detailed process. I know they reached out to you a lot of times to make sure that your order was correct. They let you know throughout the process of like where your gun was at and the building steps. Closer to the date of you getting it, they also reached out to give you like an estimated time frame throughout. So it was kind of nice to see that customer service aspect from them.
Yeah, and then the one last thing that I want to call out about this pistol, right? $5,000. And look at the grip screws, and that was the first thing we noticed. We paid, I think the feature was $150 to get blued grip screws, and they don't even line up correctly. So on a high-end 1911, not to be that guy, but you're going to be that guy when you purchase a $5,000 1911, and they don't line up. So Wilson Combat, just some food for thought on that. Pistol, though, obviously, like I said, very flawless. When you go from a Kimber, Springfield, Ed Brown, I'll even throw them out there. We've never owned one, but we fired them. Les Paul, any of those, you're going to notice a significant difference right off the top. Now, the three manufacturers that we have out here today that we're going to review, you will notice even a significant difference between the three of those. So just keep that in mind. One of my takeaways about Wilson Combat, and that's not only in the CQB line, but we have an EDC X9, and you can hear the same thing in an SF X9, but you can hear the springs. Now in a Nighthawk or a Cabot, you don't hear that. Now I'm not a gunsmith, especially in 1911s, as they're quirky to get running if you don't know what you're doing, but Wilson Combat, take something from that. If you haven't fixed it already, like I said, this gun is from 2018. That EDC, though, I think was from 2022 when we purchased that one, and it's still there. Fix the stupid spring noise. To me, that is one of the biggest things when you look at quality of pistol. You want that thing to be flawless. On the list of high-end 1911s, I would rank this number 3 out of the ratings that we're going to do today on the manufacturers. I'm going to put the pistol away real quick and then just talk about packaging. So I believe you still get this Merce looking thing. It may have changed in 2023, 2024, but the SFX, the SFT SFX we have, the EDC we have, they all came in this little Merce thing. I don't know. Food for thought, Tara, on the packaging?
It could be better.
It could definitely be better. You look at the back of the bag, you got 2 little pouches for your stuff. Some of the key call outs that I will make too, though, you do have a mag pouch of over 10 magazines, which is nice here. And I don't think I got the instructions in here, but the instructions are all done in color, and they do give you their exclusive lubricant when you do it, which is actually the lubricant we use in most of our firearms today. So Wilson Combat, not a bad firearm, right? All of the firearms we're going to review today, I think some people will say that's on my wish list, right? And that's if I hit the lottery, I'm buying one of those guns. We're blessed enough that we have the firearms that we have. We just want to give an honest review on our takeaways. And like I said, not a bad pistol, but talking about Nighthawk and Cabot, not at the top of the list. So moving to our next gun here, which I think is going to be my wife's favorite, but we'll move to the Nighthawk. So what we have in front of us is the Nighthawk Lady Hawk. And let me see if I can get this packaging to stay there. And my wife's sitting on the right-hand side just to show clear. The gun is open. But we have the Nighthawk Lady Hawk here, which this is a beautiful pistol, right? Obviously characterized more for that female shooter that wants to get into 1911 shooting. This is chambered in 9mm Opal grips. Correct me if I'm Opal grips. I know there's a lot that I can say about Nighthawk, and I'll get into it, but I want to hear your thoughts, Tara. What are your thoughts when it comes to the 1911?
I will pick up this gun and shoot this gun every day.
What do you like the most about it?
The slide is super, super smooth. It's easy to use. It's not as heavy as other Nighthawks that I've shot. So I really prefer the Lady Hawk over, I think you have a double stack.
The TLT, yep, TLE2. So kind of a different category, but no, I get what you're saying. It's still a steel frame, so probably the weight comparison is probably comparable to the Wilson we just reviewed, but obviously chambered in 9mm, so a little bit lighter. What do you, coming from a female perspective, so obviously the viewers out here are seeing the look on the gun, the small parts done in the different colors, the Opal grips. What were your thoughts when you first seen this gun?
It's beautiful. It is actually beautiful. It fits well in my hand. I have tiny hands, so it fits really well in my hand, which is nice, because I do have that issue with a lot of firearms where my hands are so small that I just can't hold them nicely as I would like. It's very easy to handle. I mean, I can slide it back and it's like flawless every single time. It's very smooth. Recoil on this gun is not bad at all. Like, if it wasn't as heavy as what it is, I would probably carry it every single day. If I had the right holster, I probably could carry it every single day. But it's beautiful to look at. It is beautiful to shoot. The colors on it are amazing. So I really love this gun.
Yeah. So going back to Nighthawk ordering process, so a couple things with this gun, and some major call-outs that I think to make. Out of all of the manufacturers that we're going to review here today, Nighthawk is the only manufacturer that will not accept an order on their website, which to me as a business owner, that is crazy. You're trusting the consumer to pick up the phone after they give you an AD or an authorized dealer, which I guess Rolex does the same thing, but and maybe there's a mindset to this and I'm just blind to it, but if I was Nighthawk and I could order a pistol straight through you, and I want to order a pistol straight through you, take the stinking order. I don't, I didn't understand that. So this particular Nighthawk, and actually my TLE too, we bought from Gunbroker. We bought from authorized Nighthawk dealers. So, you know, does that affect the ease of use with Nighthawk? I don't know. And we have another Nighthawk on order here that's a little bit more custom to this. We have a custom VIP Agent 2, which that one retails for right at what I think $8,999. And we've been a year in the process. We went through an authorized dealer, we've never had one update throughout the year in the process of when that firearm's due. So we don't know when we have to fork over that $9,000, which I mean, it's still to me is like we should get scheduled updates. Just like you said with the Wilson, their communication from what I remember was decent, but it wasn't the greatest. We've had zero communication with not only our authorized dealer, but we've had zero communication with Nighthawk as well. I think it's important to talk about, though, the firearm quality before we go into the customer service. We never had to send in the Wilson after first shooting it, right? All of our Wilsons have ran flawlessly, never any issues. This Cabot or this Nighthawk here, never any issues with my TLE. Reliability is there. Hopefully the VIP agent too, if we shoot that may be a Safe Queen heirloom piece, just with the customizations, and I know we'll do a video later on that, so I won't go too in specific with that. But I mean, you shoot this one. I think every time we go to the range, you bring it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I bring it every single time. There's
no weird spring noise. You don't hear that spring noise. I bet you it's some type of bushing inside the guide rod. But anyways, just a beautiful firearm itself. And to Tara's point, if it wasn't so heavy, obviously a great gun to carry. So females out there that are looking for a fun gun range gun, I would strongly consider, even if you can't afford this Nighthawk Lady Hawk here, get yourself a Commander Series 9mm 1911. Go with a reputable brand, because 1911 9mm Commander size is one of the most hardest ones to get to run flawlessly and consecutively. Usually they jam. You have a Kimber that we've had some issues with limp wristing and stuff. But team, just a phenomenal fit to finish gun. Favorite gun in our collection for you? No. Favorite 1911 gun in our collection?
Yes.
Okay.
I will say too, I've shot this compared to the Wilson, compared to the Cabot, and I prefer this over the Wilson.
Oh, this over the Wilson, yeah. Yes. I would say that as well. I would say this is probably over the Wilson Combat. This Lady Hawk would definitely, I don't know if I'd rock the purple, pink, whatever color that is. However, just a phenomenal gun. So talking about the packaging of the firearm, comes in a little bit nicer of a case. Some background history with Nighthawk and Wilson. They're made in the same city. Their CEO used to be a gunsmith, from what I understand, for Wilson Combat. So some of the same things that you get in Wilson Combat, some of the best practices he's taken and you get with your Nighthawk. So for example, here's your owner's manual. One of the things that Nighthawk prides themselves on over other manufacturers is they have one gun, one gunsmith, so you do not have multiple people working on it. You can see here you get, well, here's the account manager. So I don't even know why they'd give us this, because this account manager probably wouldn't do anything for us. But you get this account manager. Sorry, Noel, putting your information out there. And then you get a nice little gun patch. You get how to mount the iOS optic. This is, once again, the bag for my 2011. And then just like the Wilson, you get a sign-off sheet of who did your firearm. You can see all the same. And then last but not least, you get a test target, which I will say they bench rest shoot all of their firearms. So, you know, if you're a new shooter and you're like, holy crap, that's the same hole 3 different times, off the bench rest, you could probably do that. Like these 1911s, all 3 of them, I would say, they are sub-MOA guns. It's just about how good you are to shooting them. But yeah, just they're my favorite. They're my go-to guns on the gun range, right? There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, I group the best with that Lady Hawk too.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to turn the review over to a gun that you probably may or may not have heard of. And when I first got exposed to them, it was definitely with the firearm. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just jumping right into my favorite one. But you can see nice embroidery stitching inside the case. Once again, this is for my 2011. You got your mag cutouts, and they do have on the RMR cuts. So now reviewing favorite 1911 brand, which I think almost have to take out a second mortgage with how much we've spent with them, all joking aside, but is Cabot firearms. So Cabot started with a concept of using CNC machining to get the tightest tolerances out there. And I do believe they still hand fit their pistols. However, they take pride on the CEO of Cabot came from making medical equipment. So you can only imagine what the tolerance specs have to be on there. And they use that same equipment to produce their 1911. So we have, I hope I grabbed the right case. Like I said, we have a couple different 1911s. But before we get to the actual firearm itself, I want to talk about the buying process, about buying a Cabot gun, and then walking through what I like the most about them through the buying process than I do Wilson and Nighthawk. And to me, not only is the buying process better, the customer service was better, and the gun itself is better. The customer service I did have to use on this specific manufacturer. I think it should subtract a little bit of points from them that I had to send this gun in to get redone. But once I sent the gun to get redone, it is the by far, and you're talking comparing Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati to each other, and by far I think Cabot is just in their whole nother level. So I strongly encourage you checking out their website, cabotguns.com. They've done crazy exotic metals. I know I send you some one-of-a-kind builds that they released to us, and team, these are like anywhere from low end of $14,000 to $15,000. High end, I think they've done $75,000, $80,000 pistols, and they're sold out by the time I usually send them to you within 30, 40 minutes.
Wasn't the meteorite one over $1 million?
So yeah, I didn't want to quote that on this video, but they really got known or recognized for this pistol set called the Big Bang Theory. So, they made these pistols out of meteorites, all from my understanding, it was every single piece. And I don't know the exact number of what they sold for. I heard $1 million, then I heard $2 million. But from my understanding, they are sold, but you can still see them on their website, and they do have one-of-a-kind builds that are on there. We do not own any of the one-of-a-kind builds. We only own the I would say they're mass-produced pistols, which saying that is very lightly because it does take anywhere from, I think the quickest we got one was 4 months, but they had that in the workings. The average time of wait is about 1.5 years for their pistols. So I guess talking about the ordering process. First and foremost, how to order a Cabot 1911. I love it. You go straight to their website. You pick your options where it's very easy to read. They have examples of it. And then you click them, you pay a deposit, and then they confirm your order within 2 to 3 days. It usually comes from this gentleman named Nick, which I've had a pleasure of speaking to on the phone. I've watched some of his YouTube videos specifically, and let me tell you, his passion is definitely there, not only to help with customer service, but also to help out and make the best well-known 1911s that are out there. So without further ado, let's get started with a case. So when I look at like a 1911 case, I'm going to compare them to my watch collection, like Rolex. Everybody wants that little green box, and I know even some of the other watches that are out there come in crazy boxes. Let's be real, all of those boxes are in our closet. We we just put them away. The Cabot box, the same thing. But it is nice to see your pistol sent like this. I will say when you get your pistol, hopefully you select an FFL that is very careful and delicate. But Cabot guns themselves, when you get it in this plastic sheet over the box, and it's just to show that they haven't been in the pistol. Cabot wants to make sure you're the first ones to open it. So without further ado, here's the inside of the box. And I did not grab the correct box. This is my bedside box. But you can see it has your name, your serial number, and this is just their certificate of authenticity. Very nice box. Nothing outside of that. On top of that, then the pistol itself comes in this little sleeve here, and then you have it on this little trigger. You can see that the one Cabot that came in this was a threaded barrel. But even to their magazines, you just see how beautiful their magazines are. You can tell you're buying something of high quality. So you get a little sticker with it. Nice little Cabot gun sticker. And then when you lift up on here, lift up the tray. Here's where you get a polishing cloth. You get the test round and whatever tools you need if you order RMR. You get your gun safety lock, which even the gun safety lock, which most of us just throw in a corner, is in nice standards. You get your armor's wrench. And they also own the company Alchemy Custom Weaponry, so it's double-sided here. And then you also get your owner's manual, all of the safety stuff they have to sell you with, and it's also in color as well. So box, definitely say Cabot puts the most money in it. I watched a video when I was contemplating ordering a Cabot, and they actually have how they prepare a pistol in the box. And if I remember correctly, it takes them over an hour and a half, and they lint roll the interior of the pistol, everything, to get the box ready for shipping. Now, to Tara's point of what she said earlier, communication. When we first ordered a Cabot Guns pistol, which the Rebellion was the first one, which is this guy right here, just to show clear. We ordered the first one, I believe. When did we order it? Were we in 2020?
I have no idea.
I think it was 2021. So we ordered this in 2021. Our order with our bedside went a lot smoother. This one, we went past the delivery time by a long time. Didn't get any communication. And actually, we received communication when we were upset all the way up from the CEO, which was cool to see them jump right back on it. And then from there on out, we've had Nick as a contact point, which, I'm just probably Joe Schmo to Nick. Nick doesn't know me. I'm not a distributor for Cabot. I'm not an authorized dealer. I'm just a consumer for them. I'm not getting paid to tell them that this is the best 1911 that's out there or anything like that. This is my honest review. And from all of the friends that I have allowed to shoot this, they say the same thing. So going into the pistol itself, a couple things to call out, and then I'll turn it over to you, that I loved so much about the Rebellion. I didn't have to do much customization with this. What they had laid out was great. They took a lot of time on the design features. You look at the serration cuts, not only on the top of the slide, but on the side of the slide. I'm not putting any pressure down to move this. It moves flawlessly. Another call out to make is the trigger reset itself. The trigger brake on a flat blade trigger, there's hardly any trigger pull, but then the reset, like you couldn't hear it over me talking, but it's very little, and it puts you right on point. One of the call outs I have to make about this, I did run 500 rounds-ish through it before I sent it back, but I was getting it to jam. Cabot told me that it was the load of round I was using, but when I got the pistol back, the quality was even just so much better. So I don't know if they did a QA and checked the triggers and everything again, but the trigger felt different when I got it back. They did send me the spring that they said they replaced, which I'm not saying that they lied about it. I'm just saying when I sent it back, it definitely came back a different firearm. I was impressed the first time. I was blown out of the water the second time. So for the same price point, you can get, I believe the base price is about $5,400 on the Rebellion. Phenomenal gun. I really do appreciate the quality they have. Like their logo. This one even has the flared magwell. Just perfect in the hands. I don't hold me to this, but I do think the angle of how the gun sits in your hand is a different angle than the other two. And I know we've said that before, but let's hear your reviews and your thought process on what you think with that one.
To me, with everything on this gun feels lighter even than my Lady Hawk, which I think we looked up and it actually is lighter.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
it's aluminum. Yeah.
I will say it is very smooth to pull back. There's nothing to it. Shooting it it feels great. For this one, although it is lighter, you can tell it's a little bit too big for my hands because I have such small hands. But other than that, I do really like it. The quality's been great on it, other than having to send it back that one time. But for a pretty basic design on it, it's a nice looking gun.
Yeah, I think that's what caught your eyes right away was the color pattern on the firearm. So shout out to Cabot with that. You made a entry level to you, I should say, because you know $5,000 is not entry level to most. A entry level of your line, catchy to the eye, and that's what really drew us in to see the specifics of how it's made. We're not even going over some of the key things like how they do the ejection port. They also have a, they call it their dummy-free slide release design. So for those who have worked on 1911s or ever cleaned a 1911, if when you go to pull the slide release, they have a patented step where it won't scratch the frame when you go to reset that in there, which is nice because I've scratched high-end 1911s cleaning them, which is never fun when you scratch a couple $1,000 firearm.
First
Wilson, yeah. But you know, once again, team, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is our unbiased review of high-end 1911s, and in my opinion, go with a Cabot. I would say afford what you can afford, but you will not go wrong waiting if you have to wait to save up a little bit more money to get a Cabot. But you're not going to go wrong with a Nighthawk. You're not going to go wrong with a Wilson Combat. And once again, it's all into preference. But anyone that I've seen shoot them, they all love and go back to Cabot firearms. Anything you want to add before we close up?
No, that's all.
If you like this video, please make sure to like it, share it, subscribe to our page. We are a brand new FFL that is starting, hopefully to get our FFL clearance here shortly. And check out our website for our hats and our apparel drop we just had. We have a sale running on right now for 15% off. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video.